What is going on, people? It's Strides here with another top-notch production, bringing you another episode 6 to be exact, of Space Marines. Last time I died on this first little boss fight, because I, didn't know what I was up against. You'll see that happen a few more times in the series. Not a big deal. It happens on games like this. Continuing the games I am looking forward to for 2012, start off with a series I'm a very big fan of. Pick up Marksman mode there, as a side note to what's going on in the game. You know, stuff that doesn't really matter, the game. Marksman mode, basically when you use your I'm a super angry Space Marine mode, you can push the aim down sight and it slows down time, gives you kind of a fake bullet time. I think I used it here. If not, I definitely use it later on in the game. The enemies get a lot harder, so things become a lot more strategic. I have actually finished the game, so I'm going to try and power these out with commentary as much as I can. I recorded one or two with live commentary, and we'll see those because they'll kind of be out of place, and I'll be talking about weird stuff, but we'll see. The first game I wanted to talk about for my upcoming in this episode is going to be Metal Gear Solid Rising. That's right, there's another Metal Gear Solid game. This one is going to be more interesting because it's not going to be your typical Metal Gear Solid game. This one is actually going to be focused on Raiden, or Raiden, depending on how you want to pronounce his name. He's actually the protagonist for this game. As far as the storyline and where this fits in, it's set between the second and fourth game, so that's Raiden or Raiden is the main character in the second game, and it kind of skips. 3 is actually set in the past before the original Metal Gear games, and 4th is the most recent, chronologically speaking. So this happens between 2 and 4. Actually shows Raiden. I always pronounce it Raiden because Raiden is the dude from Mortal Kombat. Raiden actually shows what happens that he becomes the super cyborg ninja of awesomeness that kills everyone. That's the full title, by the way. The story actually picks up just after he goes through that transformation, but I believe they're going to show/tell why this all happened. It was quite interesting thing that they've done with the game. They did it in 4, although it wasn't as heavily advertised as I think they're going to advertise it for this one. But you can actually play through this entire game without killing any humans. Enemy types are going to be the 3 basic types they're going to use. Are cyborg, robot, and human enemies. But they've specifically designed it with the fact in mind that you can play through the entire game without actually killing a person. So that'll be interesting to see. You're going to be playing Raiden. He's your super cyborg ninja of awesomeness. And it's going to be not as slow-paced as the Metal Gear Solid games previous to it. It's going to be more of a fast-paced. They give it a title, let me see where I wrote it down, is a hunting stealth as opposed to a waiting stealth in the original Metal Gear Solid games. The original Metal Gear Solids, you were waiting for enemies to path around, you were waiting for things to happen. In this one, it's going to be much more fast-paced, focused on sword fighting and stealth, but at a hunting stealth. So the hunting stealth they describe as you're going to be using your stealth to quickly approach targets and take them out, as opposed to waiting for opportunities to kill them as you would in the other games. With that, they've developed a new mechanic they call cut and take. There were some Japanese words for it, but I'm not Japanese and my pronunciation of that is terrible, so I'm not going to burden you with it. So this cut and take mechanic actually will give you the ability to, let's say you're fighting a robot, you can slice the robot in a certain direction and it will pop out an item for you to pick up. The trailer for it that was shown was described as he slices open a robot, takes a battery, crushes the battery, and it returns health to him. So that's the type of thing. With this cut and take mechanic, they're putting in a lot of destructible terrain and destructible enemies, as well as a bullet time type mechanic. They didn't give a whole lot of information on it because they keep things under wraps with the Metal Gear Solid series. I've been a fan of that one since Metal Gear Solid. What else? Happens between 2 and 4. Starts after Raiden's initial transformation. From what a little bit that Kojima-san has talked about, Raiden does not have the same personality in this game that we see in 4. They call it a quote-unquote rising personality as opposed to his MGS4 personality. So we'll see how he kind of deals with the shock of becoming a super awesome robot ninja. They've also stated that they want to make this story less complicated and feature a lot less cutscenes in the game. Because let's be honest, MGS4 and the rest of the games were kind of movies that you interacted with. Not something that I had any problem with, but a lot of people didn't want to pay $60 for a movie that you interacted with, which is something I can understand. Next one I wanted to talk about is Dota 2. Those of you who don't know, Dota stands for Defense of the Ancients. There's games out now, Heroes of New Earth and League of Legends, that were essentially spawned because of Defense of the Ancients. It was built off of the Warcraft 3 engine. It was basically a map type. A cruder version, I don't want to use the word cruder, because I don't think that's actually a word, but it would be more crude than you have Heroes of New Earth or League of Legends. But this is developed by the same guy. He's being backed by Valve. Interesting story for that one. They actually picked up the designer for this because there were a lot of the veteran Valve employees that played the game competitively. So they actually took something they were passionate about, hired the guy that's doing it, and said, "We like this game, make another one." Which is awesome. Valve kind of has a history of doing that. They did it with Counter-Strike, they did it with Day of Defeat, those type of things. There's not a whole lot of information on this one, so what I did pick up is there are going to be about 47 heroes to play. It's still going to be the two factions against each other, the Sentinels and the Scourge. 3 different, I guess you could say, bases or themes for the heroes. Is going to be strength, agility, and intellect. So I guess that'll be like your typical melee/tank hero, your ranged or a stealth class for agility. Intellect would be a mage or a paladin type thing. Really, that's all the information that is I can find, at least that is out there. The other thing that they noted was there was a bit of a leak of information, so they decided to redesign a lot of things, which pushed back the release date. So you can thank the people who leaked information on that one for pushing back the release date. Next game I wanted to mention, got 2 more, and I have 6 minutes to do it, and I think I can do that. One that I'm looking forward to is Prototype 2. I played the hell out of the first Prototype. It was one of the first PS3 games that I got besides Metal Gear Solid 4. You're not actually going to be playing Alex Mercer in this one. You're going to be playing a new guy, Sergeant Major James Heller, I believe. The story with that one is essentially he comes back from the Iraqi war, finds out that New York is infested with the Black Watch virus, I think, or Blacklight, something. I don't remember the name of it. And essentially he joins up with, no, it's Project Blacklight. The military that kills it is Black Watch. Okay, so he joins up with the Black Watch and essentially goes on all these missions to fight it. The reason for that is the virus killed his family, his wife and kids, and he blames Mercer for doing that, essentially because he was lied to by the military. So he goes on all these missions, and eventually he gets to a point where the mission is too much for him. He begins to die. Alex Mercer shows up and begins, "Nah, son, you ain't gonna die." And Alex Mercer infects him with the mutated form of the virus, thus creating the plot for the game. Heller is pissed that Mercer saved his life, still blames Alex Mercer for killing his wife and family, so he decides to use his newfound power to kill off the virus and to kill Alex Mercer. Since the events of the first game, Alex Mercer is now kind of the antagonist who's spreading the virus around. Since he killed the quote-unquote mother, the original incubator of the virus. Couple of cool things I picked up from reading about that one. They set up one of these powers. You can turn people into bio-bombs, which is really cool. You can sneak up on unsuspecting people, interact with them, and turn them into quote-unquote bio-bombs to go over and explode on things. I thought that was really cool. Which leads into, they actually made the powers more useful, whereas you can actually use all the powers and they have a point. The first prototype was not actually so. I didn't find all the powers incredibly useful. The way they kind of justified this is, since the virus is always mutating, Alex Mercer injected him with a mutated form, so he's not going to be the same as Alex Mercer. So instead of having the exoskeleton-like form that Alex has, he's got more. He's got that, but he's also developed what they call tendrils. Should be more useful. They went into quite a lot of detail as to what they plan to do with the tendrils. They quoted them as being very useful. You can pick up enemies, throw vehicles, tear up enemies, slice off body parts, that type of thing. So those, we'll see how that gives. Another interesting thing they did is, this is an open world game. There's been a lot of these lately. So they wanted to revolutionize it. You're not going to be just working with one central person as a quest giver. What you're going to have to do is actually hack into the military network, find out what they're working on or important people they've discovered, and go and pursue them in order to find out where Alex Mercer is and stop the virus and all that. So it makes it a little more interesting as opposed to just listening to someone talk over the radio. Got another 2 minutes. I can quickly go over the little bit of information I have on this next one. Next game is going to be StarCraft 2 Heart of the Storm, part 2 of the 3-part series. The third part is going to be called Legacy of the Void. I bet you can guess what that one's going to be featuring. Heart of the Storm is the Zerg-focused expansion. It's going to be roughly 20 missions. A bunch of new units and multiplayer changes. They're looking to release that around April 2012. That could be changed. You never know. But the story essentially picks up after Wings of Liberty, you know, where they go and rescue Kerrigan, blah blah blah. But since they released her from being the queen, she still has that integration, but it's not a central hive mind anymore. So she has to go back and regain control of the horde, the swarm, to being the appropriate term. Looking forward to that one just for the story. I never really got heavy into the StarCraft as an RTS series, so I'm looking forward to that one quite a bit. I flew through that quicker than I wanted to. I'll use this a little bit of time. Ooh, I got about a minute. But what I wanted to do was kind of reach out to you guys, see what you guys are thinking, see if you have anything you want to hear me talk about, anything you want to see me do with these series. Like I said, I've finished up Space Marines, so I'm looking for some way to expand this. This look forward to 2012 was kind of a filler while I try and get a feel for this. So if you've got any ideas, let me know. Be sure to comment, like, favorite, subscribe, whatever you want to do. You know how to do it. You can also check me out on Twitter over at Top Knot Productions. If you do happen to find the account for my tag, it's not an actual account, so you shouldn't actually subscribe to that one. This video stops with me shooting, and I actually ended up dying, so you'll see it pick up later on. But I want to thank you for joining me. I've been Shreds, you've been the audience. This has been wonderful. I'll catch y'all later.